Romans chapter 8 verse 13 says, "For if you live according to the flesh, you will die, but if, but if by the Spirit you put to death the deeds of the body, you will live." Now I've noticed that a lot of people, myself included, I used to think like this. A lot of people think that this means that we have to just get up and sacrifice everything for the sake of God, but from what I've learned and on thinking about it deeper, I what this actually means is that not all the time, but a lot of the time, our very first reaction, or the very first thing that we want to do, or the very first thing that we think to do, is often in contradiction to how the Bible tells us we should live our life. I'm in 2 Corinthians chapter 10 verse 5. It says to take captive every thought and make it obedient to Christ. And that kind of plays a part into the Romans verse, because in like a situation where, say, somebody steals from you, or you find out somebody been taking your money, or whatever the case might be, where somebody wrongs you, the the very first thought in your mind, or your very first reaction, might be to like get angry with them and like start cursing at them, cursing them out. Might want to fight them, but in that moment, it's your responsibility as a Christian to recognize that thought, and before you allow that thought to dictate your actions, you take hold of it and bring it to God, and correct it, and act in the way that God would want you to act. And obviously, we're obviously not perfect. Sometimes our emotions can't get the better of us. We're just humans at the end of the day, and I want everybody to give themselves the same grace that God gives them, because we can't be perfect 100% of the time. But the problem doesn't come from when you're just making one mess up, or a couple mistakes here and there. It comes when this becomes a consistent behavior. If you're like getting angry and swearing people out every single time something bad happens, or stuff like that, when it becomes a consistent behavior that you're always doing over and over and over again, because we all have slip ups. No matter how hard we may try to be obedient to the word of God, we're gonna mess it up from time to time. And God, and that's what God's grace is for. It's to protect us from those mistakes that we make, because we have no control over it sometimes. And I just want to encourage everyone watching now that if you have anybody in your life right now that maybe you're not on good terms with, or maybe you're not, maybe you got into an argument recently, or whatever the case may be. If there's somebody important in your life that you're maybe not on good terms with, I just want to encourage all of you to make amends with them. Apologize, even if you feel like you have nothing to apologize for. Just put your pride aside, put your ego aside, and just tell them I'm sorry.